This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Wednesday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this January 22nd. A late-night Senate vote is changing the rules in the impeachment trial. We'll explain the amendments being made and what it means for today's session.
Plus, after a story we first told you about right here on RTV6, an Indiana lawmaker is taking steps to protect mobile home owners. The regulations he's proposing in a new bill.
If you want to know what your community needs, then you need to know what your community looks like.
The census is only months away for the Hoosier State. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with why it's important and how you can be hired to help. But first, we need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right. It's been a pretty chilly week here in central Indiana. Todd, it is January, though, so we expect that. But what can we expect today as we're heading out there?
You know, more of the same. It's cold, but it's quiet. I know the past few days we've had a few flurries. Didn't really amount to anything as far as any accumulation went. Well, today we eliminate the flurries. I don't think you'll see much of that, but we do not get rid of the cold temperatures. You'll definitely need to have the hat and gloves and the heavier jacket out at the bus stop or on your commute into work this morning, as temperatures have fallen back down into the teens in many locations. Crawfordsville, Greencastle, Tipton, over towards Richmond, Connorsville, you're in the teens. Bloomington down to 18 degrees now, sitting at 20 here in Indianapolis. But these temperatures should start to hold pretty steady now throughout the rest of the morning because we're starting to bring in some cloud cover. So where the clouds are a little thinner, that's where it was in the lower teens this morning, where it was up around 20 degrees. That's where the clouds are in place. As far as any rain or snow, it's pretty impressive off to our west, and there'll definitely be delays if you're traveling to the west today, either driving or flying. But that's a pretty slow-moving system. It doesn't really impact our area until we get to tomorrow evening. So any sunshine here will be this morning, and I don't think there'll be a whole lot in the way of sunshine. But we're up to 30 degrees by the noon hour, and then throughout the afternoon hours, we do get above normal at 37 with just mostly cloudy skies. Lord.
Todd, thank you so much. Here is a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. No delays around the metro area. You can see here heading in from the northwest side on southbound I-65. It's a 17-minute commute, so that is normal from the Dog Leg to the North Split. Let's take a look right now at traffic on the north side, I-465 here and Keystone Avenue. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed. No major issues to slow you down.
After nearly 13 hours of discussion, the U.S. Senate has changed the rules in the impeachment trial against President Trump. The vote came early this morning after a marathon day of arguments. It was a party line vote, 53-47. The new rules put off a decision about witnesses and documents until after opening statements are given. House impeachment managers and the president's legal team will also have 3 days each to make their trial arguments. Democrats aren't satisfied with the changes and accused Republicans of trying to rush through the trial. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer introduced a series of amendments asking for specific witnesses and documents. Those requests were shut down almost entirely along party lines. Republican Senator Mike Braun reacted to the session on Twitter, saying, "From what I heard today, it remains clear House Democrats have failed to prove President Trump broke any laws or took any actions that warrant his removal from office." Schiff and Schumer want a never-ending trial as the next chapter in their failed 3-year effort to get rid of him, end quote. Reaction also from Democratic Congressman Andre Carson. He retweeted this from California Congresswoman Jackie Speier, who pointed out a lie from President Trump's attorney, Jay Sekulow. Sekulow claimed Republicans were not allowed in the secure room where classified information related to impeachment was reviewed by members of the House. Representative Carson echoed Speier's tweet, saying that many Republicans choose not to review that evidence. The trial will continue with opening statements this afternoon at 1 p.m.
It is 5:05. RTV6 has been reporting on that I-70 mobile home park issue since last August. Now, nearly 6 months later, a state lawmaker is working to make sure that what happened here never happens again. State Representative Justin Moed's bill would require mobile home parks to give residents a 120-day notice of the park's closure. That's double the amount of time given to those in the I-70 mobile home park. The bill would also require owners to notify residents anytime the property is listed for sale.
This is unlike an apartment where you just got to pack up some things and move out. This is an actual structure, and oftentimes it might be in the condition that it either needs to be repaired or it can't be moved.
Well, under the current Indiana law, there's no notice requirement for mobile home parks. The bill has not yet been assigned to committee, but if it does advance and pass, it could be signed into law this year.
Another bill currently in the Indiana legislature would allow women to get birth control pills or patches without needing a prescription. House Bill 1141 would let women complete a health screening at a pharmacy and receive birth control immediately. The Jeffersonville Democrat who introduced it says it would help address Indiana's high infant and maternal mortality rates.
At 5:06, a second person has died after a vehicle drove into a pond on the north side of Indianapolis. The Marion County Coroner's Office says 24-year-old Javier Viros has passed away. The man died shortly after the incident on Friday night. Investigators say the victim's SUV jumped a curb and went into the water at 86th Street across from Brebeuf High School. They believe the weather was a factor since the road was becoming slick at the time of this crash.
The University of Evansville has fired the head coach of the men's basketball team after a sexual misconduct investigation. The university put Walter McCarty on administrative leave last month after receiving reports of alleged sexual misconduct and Title IX violations. In a letter sent to the campus community, the university president says an external investigation uncovered persistent and troubling facts regarding McCarty's conduct that violated the terms of his contract. McCarty became a national figure in November after Evansville stunned the University of Kentucky, beating the Wildcats, who were ranked #1 at the time.
One of the major companies based here in Indianapolis just passed over the Hoosier State to build a new $470 million manufacturing plant in North Carolina. Eli Lilly tells RTV6 Indiana was in the running for the new plant along with North Carolina and Pennsylvania, but in the end they chose Durham, North Carolina, saying the city fit the criteria they were looking for. Cost, operations, quality of life, and the ability to attract and retain a skilled workforce were some of the main deciding factors. The company also said the facility allows Lilly to geographically diversify its manufacturing operations within the United States. Indiana isn't getting left high and dry by the company, however. In November, Lilly announced an investment of $400 million in its Indy manufacturing facilities, creating nearly 100 new highly skilled jobs.
A Sullivan County power plant will be stopping production. Hoosier Energy expects to retire its coal-fired Merrim plant in 2023. The company plans to transition to a more diverse generating platform, including wind, natural gas, and solar. The closure will impact nearly 200 workers. Hoosier Energy officials say they'll work with employees during the transition period to explore retraining or reassignment options. It was our founding fathers who decided every 10 years we needed an accurate representation of what the country looks like, and this year is the year the United States Census Bureau will take their measurements.
Yeah, it's been a decade since the last Census Bureau did that measurement, and our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with why they do it and why officials say it's important for you to answer their questions. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So officials with the Census Bureau say it's important that you answer the questionnaire because they need to know what your community looks like before they can decide what your community needs. Now, this year, the U.S. Census Bureau is hoping to have an even more accurate count than years prior because they plan on using the internet as a way for people to self-respond. You can also fill out a paper questionnaire or respond over the phone. Now, if you don't respond in any of those ways, that's when someone will come to your door and ask you those questions. So Regional Director Kathy Lacey with the U.S. Census Bureau says the process doesn't take long.
We're talking 9 questions. Basically, we're asking, what does your household look like? Who's living there, and basic demographics about the household.
She says with the information they gather from the census, they are able to best decide where $675 billion in federal funding goes. Now, the U.S. Census Bureau is hiring Hoosiers, and the agency needs to fill 3,000 jobs at its Indianapolis office. Now, the positions include census takers and office personnel. The pay ranges from $22.50 to $25 an hour. And for more information on that, you can go to hiringhoosiers.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Well, lane restrictions could have a big impact on your morning drive. Citizens Energy Group says it has closed 3 lanes of Pennsylvania between New York and Washington streets as part of a sewer rehabilitation project. The agency says prepare for traffic congestion for the next 2 days, especially during the afternoon rush hour. The lanes are all expected to be back open by Thursday evening.
And a construction project on the east side of Indianapolis will continue through the summer. RTV6 learned the timeline for railroad and bridge repairs near 38th and Arlington after frustrated business owners reached out to us for answers. The project was originally scheduled to wrap up by last November. People who work in the area, like William Owens, says their shops are being blocked by the construction.
Some of the automotive guys are looking to downsize because they're not going to be able to afford the size places that they have now for the amount of rent that they pay here if more than half the customers are gone.
The $4.5 million project is a partnership between DPW and the Indiana Department of Transportation. Officials tell RTV6 several factors played a role in the delay, including a lack of workers for the job and the weather. Speaking of the weather, let's bring in meteorologist Todd Clausen for a look at what we can expect today.
Yeah, it's a pretty quiet day for us today across the area. Just really going to need to bundle up. Just walk out the door this morning, grab that cup of coffee. You're walking out to skies that are partly cloudy across the area, and we're going to be hovering right around that 20-degree mark throughout the duration of your morning drive, and the clouds are starting to increase. So the best chance of seeing some sunshine today will actually be during the morning hours. Then by this afternoon, all these thicker clouds off to our west, they'll be moving in, although we will remain completely dry throughout the day today. As far as temperatures, it's a seasonable day. This is right where we should be for this time of year. We're looking at 36 degrees for your high temperature today in Kokomo, 38 in Greenwood. Temperatures in Bloomington and Columbus should get close to 40 degrees. Tomorrow, I think most of us climb into the 40s. The trade-off, though, is rain returns. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. We are learning more about the aftermath of an Iran missile strike on 2 bases in Iraq. Coming up, why the Pentagon is reporting more U.S. troops could have suffered injuries.
And a new viral social media challenge is prompting warnings from fire officials. Still ahead, how these trending TikTok videos have caused multiple dangerous incidents.
Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Military officials say more U.S. troops are now being evaluated for potential injuries from an Iranian missile strike. The strike hit 2 Iraq bases this month in retaliation for the U.S. killing one of its top generals. Now, U.S. Central Command says a number of troops were transferred to a medical facility in Germany for observation. Officials say that is being done out of caution because the troops may have injuries that are not visible yet. Earlier, the Pentagon said 11 troops were treated for concussion symptoms after the attack.
A woman in Phoenix has been arrested and accused of killing her 3 children. 22-year-old Rachel Henry appeared in court by video conference from jail. She's facing 3 first-degree murder counts. Police found her infant daughter, 2-year-old daughter, and 3-year-old son in a home Monday night, not breathing. Investigators say that Henry admitted to harming her kids, but has not said how yet.
3 men arrested ahead of a pro-gun rally in Virginia allegedly wanted to start a race war. According to court documents, 2 accused neo-Nazis packed cases of food and supplies and discussed ways to attack the rally in Richmond. Investigators say the men plan to use a special scope on their assault rifle to ambush people and police officers from a distance. They also talked about plans to derail trains and sabotage power lines. Both were arrested at their apartment in Delaware days before the rally. Another man was also accused of being involved in the plot. The rally was peaceful, however, with 20,000 people attending under tight security.
Production is officially on hold for Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. That company confirmed that Washington assembly line has stopped building the plane. The 737 MAX was grounded in March after 2 deadly crashes killed more than 300 people. Although Boeing could not deliver the planes to customers, they still continued to build them. It now has about 400 completed planes waiting to be delivered around the world. Boeing has also announced that they would likely stay grounded through the middle of this year. Time right now is 5:17. It is Wednesday, and as we're heading out the door, Todd, what do people need to know?
You know, you just got to grab the winter weather gear. It is cold this morning, so get the jacket out, which I'm sure you've had out here the past few days, but take the hat and the gloves as well. As temperatures are in the teens and 20s, clouds are already increasing this morning. Any sunshine you see will be short-lived, and then it's just kind of a blah afternoon for us, but we will warm quickly. That's the good news from where we are right now with these temperatures in the teens and 20s. degrees, 19 right now in Tipton, 19 in Crawfordsville and Greencastle, as well as Martinsville, 18 in Bloomington, a pair of 2s in Muncie, and Indianapolis sitting at 20 degrees. You factor in a little bit of a breeze, and it's putting wind chills down as cold as 10 right now in Indianapolis, but it's a southerly wind. Compared to earlier in the week, we had that northwesterly wind, and we did not see our temperatures warm a whole lot. As we go throughout the course of the day today, we'll go from about 19 degrees at 8 a.m. already up to 30 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, again with a little bit of sunshine, and then the clouds will win out with highs today getting up to right around 37 degrees, which will put us above normal. What you do not see today is any precipitation. Even though the clouds will increase today, it's going to be a dry day for us anywhere you go across the area. And here are those clouds already starting to overspread the area. And there's a storm system off to our west with some rain and snow. And this is slowly going to be making its way towards us. And slow is the key word, because when you look at it, it doesn't look that far away. You would think it's going to get here pretty quick, but that is not going to be the case. In fact, tomorrow is when that storm system will arrive. And as we work our way throughout the day tomorrow, it's really not until once we get past the evening commute that our rain chances will really start to come up. Yeah, there could be a spot shower during the evening drive, but for the most part, it's going to be a later event for us during the day tomorrow as that rain moves in. As it comes in, temperatures, though, are still going to be in the mid to upper 30s, so it'll be all rain. Initially, the question is overnight Friday, how far does the temperature drop? Do we get below freezing to change some of this rain over to a little bit of a wintry mix? I think there is the potential for that, maybe in some northern locations, but for most of this is now looking like it is going to be a rain event for us on Friday, all the way into the day on Saturday. And we could get some decent rain on Friday. It's definitely going to be one of those days you have to have the umbrella handy. It's going to be pretty dreary as well as we wrap up the work week. And then on Saturday, there's not as much in the way of steady precipitation, but as the colder air comes in on the backside of that system, we'll mix in again a little bit of a wintry mix. Not expecting huge issues from that. And then next week, temperatures back above normal. 48 by Tuesday, Lauren, will feel pretty nice.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic. This is over on the west side, I-465 near Sam Jones Expressway. You can see some headlights out there. Traffic's picking up already this morning, but it's still traveling up to speed. So let's take a look at our traffic now map and plan out your east side commute heading into downtown from Post Road. It's a 10-minute drive into the North Split, so that is great news. Everything there is traveling smoothly. Let's take a look in the downtown area. Our INDOT traffic camera sitting here at I-65 and I-70 at the South Split, where traffic is moving along just fine. Right now, no crashes to report around your metro area.
A viral challenge on the popular social media app TikTok has sparked concern from fire officials after multiple incidents at Massachusetts high schools. The challenge involves using the plug part of a phone charger, partially inserting it into a wall outlet, then sliding a penny down the wall onto the exposed prongs. Fire officials say the electricity propels the charger and coin out and could easily get someone in the eye, causing blindness or catch clothes on fire. Fire crews were called to 2 Massachusetts high schools because of the challenge. One student is now facing charges for starting a fire. Fire chiefs say parents should talk with their kids about these challenges and the possible dangers.
Ticket prices to this year's Super Bowl down in Miami could be the most expensive ever. The highly anticipated matchup is set between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. At last check, the least expensive ticket on the SeatGeek was around $4,400. The most expensive cost more than $24,000 a ticket. The most expensive Super Bowl of all time is currently Super Bowl 49 between the New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks. That was in 2015. As prices continue to fluctuate this year, that could still top that. Pretty crazy.
Residents in Florida are getting ready for some unique weather this morning. After the break, why they are forecasting raining iguanas. We'll be right back.
Beautiful jewelry.
Welcome back. It is 5:25 on your Wednesday morning, and we already have a lot of headlights moving across your screen here on the north side. Pretty heavy traffic at I-465. A view near Michigan Road. The good news, everything is moving along up to speed. No delays here to slow down your commute.
The weather forecast in Miami calling for some chilly temperatures and a chance of raining iguanas. Temperatures are to drop below 45 degrees overnight in South Florida, which is cold enough for the lizards to go into their dormant stage. When that happens, they become very still and likely fall out of the trees. That can cause some problems for people and cars under them. The iguanas won't necessarily die, and they will likely wake up as temperatures rise later today.
You're like, oh, what happened? Wow. Fell asleep.
What's going on here? Look, 36 degrees right now in Orlando, 43 degrees is the current temperature in Miami, with wind chills that are right around 30 degrees. So yeah, they're not used to it down there.
No, and it's a good thing that that doesn't happen to humans
right.
here, because us three would still be fast asleep in bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's chilly this morning, though, as you do walk out the door. We are in the teens and 20s, getting up to about 37, though. It's a seasonable day for us later on this afternoon. In fact, it could get to near 40 degrees in Bloomington as well as Columbus. Dry today, but we'll watch rain return to the forecast starting tomorrow evening. More on that and a look ahead to your weekend coming up in the next half hour. The time now is 5:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
A state lawmaker wants to make Indiana college campuses safer.
Details his plan to protect students from sexual violence, domestic violence, and stalking. And the 2020 census is getting underway, and officials need your help.
Our Kelsey Anderson is breaking down why it's so important for you to participate and how you can even make some money helping out. But first, we need to take a check at our forecast. It's another winter Wednesday.
Yes, it's January here in central Indiana as Todd is breaking down our pretty seasonable day.
Yeah, it's going to be a very typical January day for us in the sense that temperatures this morning are where they should be this time of year, and later on this afternoon we're going to top off right around our normal high of 36 degrees. So what do you need as you walk out the door? Well, it's January. You definitely need the jacket. I would suggest the hat and gloves, especially if the kids are going to be waiting out at the bus stop. If you're brave, your outdoor workout, it's okay this morning. There's no precipitation, and sunglasses. I checked those off. You may need them initially here this morning, but eventually the clouds, they are going to win out throughout the day today. 17 in Lawrence, Greenwood down to 15 right now, Martinsville at 19 degrees, a bunch of 20s from Pendleton down through Greenfield over towards Shelbyville, and the clouds are currently making their way into the area. Still a little clearer to the south and off to the east compared to northwestern locations, but these clouds will continue to thicken up throughout the course of the day. But this precipitation, and there's a lot of it, with snow and a little bit of rain on the backside of that system from Omaha to Wichita, that is just slowly inching its way towards central Indiana. So you don't have to worry about that for the day today. It does become a player in our forecast starting tomorrow. So throughout the day today, increasing clouds. Eventually by this afternoon, we have an overcast sky, 30 degrees by your noon hour, with our high temperature getting up to 37 degrees. At 5:31, let's get another look at the roads with Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at a pretty busy camera here already at this early hour up on the north side. This is our view near Michigan Road of I-465. The good news is traffic's actually traveling just fine, both eastbound and westbound, so no issues to slow you down. Let's take you down to the south side and plan out your drive, starting you off at Stones Crossing Road. That's in Greenwood, heading up to I-465. Right now, it's an 11-minute commute, so no problems there. And then across the county, starting at County Line Road, heading up to I-70 in the downtown area at the North Split, it's a 12-minute drive. We do have a traffic alert for you this morning. Lane restrictions could have a big impact on your downtown commute, so listen up if you travel in that area. Citizens Energy Group has closed 3 lanes of Pennsylvania between New York and Washington. It's part of a sewer rehabilitation project. The agency says prepare for traffic congestion today and Thursday, especially during the afternoon rush hour. Those lanes are expected to be back open by Thursday evening.
After a marathon session lasting well into this morning, the Senate has approved rules for the impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. The rules resolution from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was approved 53-47. Several amendments proposed by Minority Leader Chuck Schumer failed along party lines. Those included allowing witnesses and documents. But the president's team arguing House Democrats should have gone to the courts if those witnesses were so important.
They don't make a single argument why there shouldn't be witnesses and documents. That speaks volumes.
Obstruction for going to court? It's an act of patriotism to defend the constitutional rights of the president.
Each side now has 24 hours over 3 days to make their opening statements. That will be allowed by up to 16 hours of followed up by 16 hours of questioning, that is, from senators. A decision on allowing those witnesses and documents will come after opening documents and questioning.
Covering the State House this morning, lawmakers are working on 2 bills related to sex crimes. First, Senator Frank Mervyn of Hammond says universities and colleges are just not doing enough to protect students from sexual violence, domestic violence, and stalking. He's introduced legislation to provide victims better support and educate them on their rights and options. It's an issue that Natalie Mendez says hits close to home for many students. She's a member of the Sigma Psi Zeta sorority at IUPUI, which hosts and participates in events that empower and support people who have been sexually assaulted.
You can ask anybody on our campus and they would probably say that they know 1 or 2 people, or if not more, that have been sexually assaulted, whether that was, on campus or before they have gotten to campus. At the end of the day, it still happens.
Senator Mervyn's bill would also require schools to designate confidential advisors that provide emergency and ongoing support to victims. And a bill that would make it easier for survivors of child sex crimes to seek justice is headed to the full Senate. The proposal would create exceptions to the current statute of limitations on sex crimes against minors. Right now, a person can be prosecuted for those crimes only if the victim is currently under the age of 31. Exceptions include if new DNA evidence is discovered, if someone confesses, or if there's video or audio of the crime.
Working for you this morning, we spoke with DPW Director Dan Parker to get an update on road conditions. He says the department is preparing for more potholes to pop up after the recent freeze and thaw cycle. Last week, the department received 986 repair requests and closed almost 600. Yesterday, 14 crews of 6 workers each were out making repairs. Parker says it's important for drivers to report potholes so crews can get them repaired as soon as possible.
Don't assume that someone else has reported the hole. And I can't say this enough. Your first action should not be to go to social media to report a hole. That doesn't translate into a work request. A work request is only derived from calling the MAC, using Request Indy, or going on Request Indy online.
The MAC is the Mayor's Action Center. That number is 317-327-4622. You can also report potholes on highways and interstates by calling INDOT at 317-356-2411.
It is 5:36, and every 10 years, the United States Census Bureau needs to get an accurate measure of what our country looks like, and they need your help this year.
First, they say they need everyone to answer their questionnaire, but they also need to hire Hoosiers to help them take their measurements starting April 1st. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with all the details. Kelsey, this is really, really crucial that everyone participates.
Yeah, that's right, Meredith. It is important that everyone participates because the officials with the census say if they don't know who's in your community, they won't know how to help your community and give them what they need. So this year, the U.S. Census Bureau is hoping to have an even more accurate count than years prior because they plan on using the internet as a way for people to self-respond. You can also fill out a paper questionnaire or respond over the phone. And if you don't respond in any of those ways, that's when someone will be sent to your door. Regional Director Kathy Lacey with the U.S. Census Bureau says the process doesn't take long and is completely confidential.
Any information that we receive, whether electronically or whether in person, from respondents, those 9 questions, that's completely confidential. We like to think that we are the truth tellers of the nation. We actually show what this country looks like in that point of time, April 1st, 2020.
She says with the information they gather from the census, they are able to best decide where $675 billion in federal funding goes. Now, the U.S. Census Bureau is hiring Hoosiers. The agency needs to fill 3,000 jobs at its Indianapolis location. The positions include census takers and office personnel. The pay ranges from $22.50 to $25 an hour. And for more information, you can visit hiringhoosiers.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. A huge announcement is scheduled at Butler University today, and all signs point to the introduction of the school's new mascot that will eventually take over for the retiring Butler Blue 3. Yesterday, Blue 3, also known as Trip, tweeted this picture. You can see on that board, it says coming soon, the Butler Blue debut January 22nd, 2020. Here is the Twitter account for the Butler Blue, also going to be known as Butler Blue 4. Stay tuned. We should get our first look at the school's future mascot later this morning. And Todd, you have a picture with every single Butler Blue, correct?
I do. I posted on my Facebook page a couple weeks ago, and yeah, we started off with the first, then with Trip, and then Butler 3, and now we're gonna have to get the other one once we get a look at him. I'm sure he'll be in here at some point. All right, so January, I updated this map for you. Started off so warm, as we've talked about, but 3 days in a row now we've been below normal. In fact, 3 days in a row we have not got above the freezing mark for our high temperature, and it's really 4 out of 5 when you go back to last Friday. Today we get back to your average high, and that's right around 37 degrees, but as you walk out the door, you really need to bundle the kids up. We're looking at a temperature right around 19, 20 degrees with skies that are partly cloudy right now, but we're dry. That's the good news. You don't have to worry about any snow in the forecast here this morning as the kids come home. Mostly cloudy skies, a temperature right around 37 degrees, but we do have a storm system that starts impacting the area starting tomorrow evening. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. A man who was pardoned after being convicted of sodomizing a teen in Kentucky is now facing new charges. Coming up, why the timing of his arrest has people outraged.
And a North Carolina hospital under fire for billing sexual assault victims for their rape kits. Why advocates say the mix-up is putting victims at risk. It's 5:40. We'll be right back.
Prep guaranteed at Jackson Hewitt.
Welcome back. Here is a live look at traffic right now as you're heading out on the roads. This is on the north side at I-465 and Michigan Road. You can see it looks like we have pretty heavy traffic in that area, especially at this hour, but everything is still traveling smoothly. No crashes or delays on the north side to report at this hour.
Another major airport is now screening passengers arriving from China for the highly contagious, deadly coronavirus. Yesterday, O'Hare Airport in Chicago began screening arriving passengers. This after a case was confirmed in the U.S. and news that the death toll from the virus has risen to 9. Today, the World Health Organization is holding an emergency meeting regarding the outbreak, and John Lawrence has the latest.
Concern at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention as the Wuhan coronavirus spreads to the U.S.
We have to be prepared for the worst. I mean, I don't think there's cause for panic on anyone's part, but we certainly need to be following it and watching this very carefully.
This coronavirus, first identified in Wuhan, China, is a cousin of the SARS virus, causing pneumonia-like symptoms. It's been reported in at least 5 countries, including the U.S., when an unnamed male returned to Washington State after a trip to China.
He was hospitalized, and we're very happy to say that he is in satisfactory condition.
Health officials worry air travel may help advance the disease. The CDC is sending dozens of staffers to some U.S. airports to inspect people who are coming from Wuhan.
This is a focused, proactive response to make sure that these particular travelers are getting appropriate screening before they're able to move on to whatever their ultimate destination is.
Health officials say viruses don't respond to antibiotics, and this one can be spread from person to person.
This is flu season, so we wash our hands, we cover our mouths when we sneeze, and when we are ill, we stay home from work so we don't expose other people to infection.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
At 5:45 in Michigan, the Supreme Court says it won't block a lawsuit by residents of Flint. They're suing city officials over the water crisis. Back in 2014, the water supply was switched from the Detroit Water and Sewage Department to the Flint River. That led to more than 100,000 people being exposed to elevated levels of lead. An outbreak of Legionnaire's disease, which killed 12 people. Lawyers there asked for the city, asking the court to step in, claiming that their clients have immunity. But Tuesday, the Supreme Court declined to do so, allowing this suit to move forward. Meanwhile, the city is still working to replace contaminated lines.
A hospital in Fayetteville, North Carolina is apologizing after more than a dozen sexual assault victims were billed for their rape kits. Documents show that Cape Fear Valley Medical Center billed 17 victims thousands of dollars, violating a state law. The center has since apologized, saying the patients don't owe anything, but advocates for the victims say the damage is already done.
The number one problem is the victims are unaware they're going to get a bill, and they're sent to their home. You don't know who has access to their home, who knows that they've been raped, who doesn't know they've been raped. The perpetrator could be a husband. So that in itself is putting victims in danger.
Advocates also say some of the bills went to collectors, ending up on the victims' credit reports.
It is 5:46. Outrage this morning after this man, who is convicted of sodomizing a teen in a brutal sexual attack, was pardoned by former Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin. Now there's word this morning that he's facing new charges for a new crime. Court documents show that Dayton Jones was in and out of jail last week, charged with promoting contraband. A closer look at the timeline shows that a drug investigation dates back to September. That's less than 2 months after Jones was pardoned by the outgoing governor. Bevin issued hundreds of pardons before leaving office back in November. He's now under investigation by the FBI for those pardons.
A New Jersey Fire Department's canine is making history. Meet Hansel, the first pit bull to become a certified arson detection canine officer. The 4-year-old pup was rescued from a dogfighting ring in Ontario, Canada, when he was just 7 weeks old. He was then taken to Throwaway Dogs Project, a nonprofit organization in Philadelphia that rescues unique dogs and trains them to become canines. Hansel graduated from training last week and was sent to the Millville Fire Department. Along with being an arson detection canine officer, he helps the department teach students about fire prevention and safety. And he looks like he fits right in. He is happy and ready to work. All right, Todd, let's take a look at our weather for our Wednesday.
You know, it's a pretty quiet day for us here across the area. As you look from IMS back towards downtown Indianapolis, you can see the skyline. That's always good. That means you're not dealing with any fog or any precipitation falling from the sky. You just have to contend with some very cold air. Once again, that'll be in place this morning. 20 degrees, that is the current temperature outside right now. And there is a little bit of a breeze this morning, and that's different than the past few days, where thankfully we didn't have a whole lot in the way of wind. But the wind is also out of the south, and that southerly wind component is going to help to bring some warmer temperatures into the forecast. We haven't got above freezing since Saturday across the area. Today, we should get there. 22 right now in Lafayette, teens in Crawfordsville, Greencastle, Martinsville, Bloomington, and over into the Connorsville area with clear skies. Richmond now down to 12 degrees. You factor in that wind out of the south, and it feels like it's 10 in the city. 12 is what it feels like currently as you make your way up into the Peru area. We'll warm pretty quickly today. That is the good news. We'll go from the teens to about 30 degrees already by the noon hour, and then temperatures should top off right around 37 later on this afternoon for us as we work our way into a mostly cloudy sky after initially starting here off with just a little bit of clear skies. And it's not another question. You could see a little bit of sunshine this morning before these clouds start to gather. But thankfully, all this snow, that is going to stay off to our west. We don't have to worry about that in our forecast until late tomorrow. And by the time it gets here, it's going to be mainly rain. But a big game down in Bloomington this evening as Michigan State is coming into town to take on the Hoosiers. You don't have to worry about any precipitation during the course of that game or your travels to and from Assembly Hall. So should be a nice night for basketball and maybe dinner in Bloomington before the game. Tomorrow we get into the 40s. Most of the day is dry, but then the rain will arrive during the evening hours. There could be a hit or miss shower during the evening commute, especially in southern locations, but it's really not until tomorrow night that we start to bring that precipitation into the forecast. And I just remembered that game I just told you about, it's tomorrow night. It's not tonight. I had a complete brain freeze, but so tomorrow night we will be bringing some rain into the forecast, but it will be all rain. But you could still go down to Bloomington, have dinner tonight. That's just fine. And then throughout the course of Friday, we'll continue to deal with this rain in the forecast throughout the evening hours. So Friday is going to be a pretty wet day for us here across the area. I just thought today was Thursday. I'm pushing my way through the week a little quicker than I should good. And then on Saturday, we'll still have some lingering precipitation. So Saturday, there could be some snow mixed in on the backside of that system, but we are not going to see any accumulation. Sunday's a dry day for us with a temperature of 40 degrees and then temperatures lowering above normal as we head into Monday and Tuesday.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. As you're heading out the door on this Wednesday, here's a look right now at your commute on I-70 heading eastbound from Ronald Reagan Parkway to I-65 here at the South Split. It is a 12-minute drive at this hour, so no delays. Let's take it down to the south side here. This is I-65 at County Line Road near Greenwood. You can see flashing lights on your screen. It looks like we do have one crash right there on your travel lanes, but traffic traveling both northbound and southbound here on the south side is moving along up to speed. This is a spot we'll keep our eyes on, though, this morning, and we'll let you know if you need to reroute. If you were impacted by the massive Equifax data breach in 2017, you're running out of time to take part in that settlement. The deadline to file a claim or sign up for credit monitoring is today. The breach exposed the personal information of more than 147 million people. If you file a claim, you could get money, but the Federal Trade Commission warns it probably won't be much. The credit monitoring option is for 10 years. The website EquifaxBreachSettlement.com is what you'll use.
Disney is pushing up the European debut of its streaming service, Disney+. Disney fans in the UK, Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Austria, and Switzerland will all have access starting in March. The company plans to launch in other countries, including Belgium, the Nordic countries, and Portugal by this summer. Disney+ has gained a significant following with 10 million subscribers joining on the first day it launched in the U.S. Disney expects to have 60 to 90 million subscribers across the world by 2025.
You could have a hand in naming the next Mars rover. NASA originally received 28,000 pitches from students ranging from kindergarten to high school. Well, that list is finally narrowed down to 9 finalist names. They are endurance, tenacity, promise, perseverance, vision, clarity, ingenuity, fortitude, and courage. You can vote for your favorite online on NASA's website, mars.nasa.gov. Polling's open till Monday. The winner will be announced March 15th.
If you think you have what it takes to stump Jeopardy's greatest of all time, now is your chance. Coming up, where you can see Ken Jennings right here in the Hoosier State.
Sportsbook, more ways to win.
Do you think you have what it takes to stump Jeopardy's greatest of all time? If so, now is your chance to go one-on-one with Ken Jennings. And next month, he'll be at DePaul University. Jennings will speak as part of the school's Ubben Lecture Series on February 25th at 7:30. It will also feature a Q&A where audience members can try to stump Jennings with their own trivia questions. The event is free and open to the public, but you better get there early. There are no tickets, and seating is first come, first served. All right,
Todd.
Todd.
I would stump myself just trying to think of a question.
Oh, okay. Todd, have you thought of your weather trivia you would ask him?
No, I haven't.
See? All right. We'll let you marinate on that for a minute.
With something good. All right. Outside right now, temperatures are cold. You definitely have to bundle up this morning, but Storm Team 6 radar completely quiet. That's the way it stays throughout the entire day. It's a dry day for us, so you don't have to worry about any precipitation, just increasing clouds. So the skies may look a little threatening later on this afternoon, but do not fear. We will remain dry throughout the day today. A little warmer than it has been, as well as our high temperature gets back above normal today, topping off at 37 degrees. There is rain returning to the forecast tomorrow. We'll talk about the timeline coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57.